Hi, this is Erling with Travel Trail Sail, and today we're going to talk about tire pressure monitors. You all know we've been traveling for quite a while and doing RV camping. And one of the things we've never had is a tire pressure monitor. But I started to think about what would happen in the event that we had a tire who maybe lost its air, it got a flat, or split apart as we're driving down the road at 60 miles an hour. I've seen pictures of some of the damage it can do to a travel trailer or an RV and decided that maybe this was a piece of safety equipment that we should probably invest in. So I've done some research. I looked around to figure out who's the best. And what I found was there are several manufacturers that make really good tire pressure monitoring systems. I don't know that you can really go wrong with any of them. But the one that we decided to go with is a TST tire pressure monitoring system. And this one comes with a color monitor, and that's okay. It doesn't really matter to me if it's black and white or color, but I've heard that's a good clear screen to look at. But the real differentiator is that the monitors, the actual sensors that are on the tires, have the ability to flow through. With the TST system and the flow through sensors, we can leave the sensors on and still inflate the tires. So that seemed like a much easier way to go. We'll see after we've used it for a while, but that's part of the reason we went with this one. It got good reviews. I want to give a shout out to Techno RV, who did a nice review of several different monitors and their thoughts and opinions on why this one might be the best. And so that's the one that we ended up going with. And let's take a look, see what's in the box, and then go ahead and get it installed today. Let's go ahead and open the box, see what's in our TST tire pressure monitoring system. I will just note the box came a little bit damaged in shipping, so hopefully everything inside is okay. So with that, let's slide this out. Alright, we've got a thank you note, a sticker, thanks TST, the instruction manual, and it looks like here we've got the actual sensors, the flow through sensors and the monitor. And then underneath here, some stickers. Hopefully we'll figure out what those are for. This is a repeater, and that'll actually need to be installed in between the sensors and the monitor. It helps make sure that the signal can actually reach the driver's seat. So we'll have to install that one. It does need power. The TST does come with a suction mount, as well as this rubber dash mount, a power cord, and I think if I understand it, these are the tools that you use to actually go ahead and install the sensors on the tires. So that is everything in the box, and it's all packaged up pretty nicely. Even though the box was a little bit ripped open, it looks like everything's in good shape. So there's our color monitor. You can see that one of the advantages of this one too is it has a very small antenna on it. One of the other brands has an antenna that you fold out like on an old transistor radio. So hopefully this will be a strong enough antenna, but it is a lot smaller and therefore hopefully won't get damaged as it's riding along next to me in the truck. These are the flow through sensors I mentioned, and you can see on here hopefully that there's a cap on the top, just like a regular tire stem, where air can be inflated into those, where the other side of that actually then goes on to the valve stem. Now something to know, these are kind of heavy, so it's recommended, or I think required actually, that if you're going to use the flow through sensors as opposed to the others, that you have metal valve stems on your tires. So most of the time tires come with rubber valve stems. These might get a little bit too heavy, which could cause the valve stems to wear out prematurely and actually cause more of a problem than it solves. So if you want to continue to use the rubber valve stems, you may just look for the version of the TST that doesn't have the flow through sensors, or one of the other brands. Fortunately, this spring we had our tires replaced, got a new set of Goodyear travel trailer tires with metal valve stems so that I could put on these flow-through sensors. So it was time to replace the tires anyway. It didn't cost any extra at the tire shop, and now I'm ready to go. Apparently what you need to do is program these sensors to the monitor. They need to be paired. Now with some of the systems, you have to do that at the tire. But I've been told with the TST, we can actually do that here, in the camper or in your home base, wherever you might be, get them programmed and then install them. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So next up, we'll take a look at this instruction manual and see if we can figure out how to make this work. So I'm going to go ahead and install these sensors on the valve stems. To do that, though, I had to program them first. So I have this module. It came already all charged, and there's 3 buttons along the side here. There's a set button and a go button, and you change using the set to what you want to set. The temperature ranges come sort of predefined with a default that they recommend not changing. Those are really more for if you're traveling someplace where the temperatures are really high, like maybe the desert. But you do need to set the pressure, the cold pressure for your tires. So determine what your cold pressure is, and then you need to set the range from 10% below that to 20% above that for the pressure when your tires are cold. You can see there's actually a lot of tires that you could program into this. So you use a plus and a minus button on here to navigate to each axle to set these, and then each sensor you hold up to the device and say this is the one for that position, and it will put it into place. Now I'm going to go outside and install these. There's a locking nut that goes on first. Put that on the valve stem and then tighten your sensor onto it. And that is supposed to help prevent theft because you need this special wrench to be able to loosen that. So that's the next step. We're going to head outside and actually, now that they're programmed in, I'll start putting the sensors on the tires. So the steps to install are pretty easy. We're going to take this cap off. Put the locking nut in place. And you just turn that all the way on. And we add the sensor. Turn that tight, and then back the locking nut back off again, finally tightening it with this tool. The signal repeater needs to be installed towards the front of your travel trailer, and you can actually put it at the battery box or right near it. You're going to connect the wires to the battery. There is no on-off switch. It would really be nice if there was an on-off switch, or if the campers came pre-wired for the TST system so that we could attach it after the on-off switch that many campers have on the power system. However, it does have a very low power drain, so you should be okay just leaving it connected. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the battery box, connect it, and then we're going to go ahead and mount the signal repeater. So if this is a battery box, you want to keep it pretty tight. Mine is just pre-loosened. If you need, a screwdriver can help you open this up to be able to take the strap off more easily. We'll go ahead and take the lid off. And you can see there's simply 2 posts where the battery connects. A 1/2-inch wrench goes a long way towards the first few screws you need to do on the nut to remove that nut. And you set these aside so that you don't lose them. You'll need those nuts back in just a minute. Now we go ahead and install the wires for the repeater, and I'm going to put them so that they go kind of towards the back here, and we simply replace those nuts. We're going to want to make sure those are nice and tight. And again, it's a really low signal draw. I've heard as low as 5 milliamps. So it's not supposed to be a problem. But if you do go camping infrequently, some people only go once a month. You can see it's lit up now. It would be nice to have it so that you wouldn't have to leave it on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring those wires towards the back and tuck any excess into the battery box. And then I'm going to go ahead and mount this right on the side of the battery box. It'll be a convenient place to keep it. And thinking of the lid of the box where it has those places for wires to come out, we're going to want to have them come out that way. So it has 3M, like a Velcro tape, and we will go ahead and install that on the side of the box. And now we're going to make sure that any excess wires go inside the box. Maybe tuck those in towards the back of the battery box. Fuse goes in. It's a 3 amp or 2 amp fuse, something like that. And just enough wires, some space on that so that when we put the lid back on, now our repeater is installed and we can tighten up the battery box again. We've been using the TST tire pressure monitoring system now for several weeks, and so far I have to say I really like it. It has a nice design. It's its own screen, so it's not another app on my phone, and the screen stays on, so it's continuously cycling through each tire. Every few seconds it shows me the pressure and temperature of one of the tires. And the battery life on that, even though the screen is on all the time, the battery lasts a long time. If it does need a charge, it did come with a cable that can plug into a cigarette lighter or a USB. So that's nice. The antenna is pretty small, doesn't really clutter up the cab of our pickup, and it's got a nice flexible base, so I can set that down and it holds it well. So generally, it's doing its job and we like it. Installation of the TST was pretty straightforward. I set the pressure for each tire and chose which position that tire would be in on the monitor, and left the temperature setting by default, as is the recommendation. And then I took each of those sensors and installed them on the stem of a tire. Then I installed the sensor repeater unit. It just went right on the battery at the front of our travel trailer, and brought the monitoring unit up into the cab of the pickup with me. The one thing I wish it did have is either an off switch or some way to mount this so that it was connected to our travel trailer wiring so that the off switch for the travel trailer would also turn the power off. If you don't use it for several weeks, now I know that the electric draw is very minimal, but it would still feel better to me if I could turn it off. When doing our research, one of the more helpful things I found were the videos that Eric at Techno RV produced. And I was deciding among several different manufacturers of tire pressure monitors. His content really did help us to make the decision to get the TST. We liked Techno RV's approach so much that we've actually decided to become an affiliate of them. And all that really means is we have a link that you can use, and if you click on our link to go to their site, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but we'll get a small commission that helps us to continue to produce this kind of content. So appreciate you considering supporting us in that way. If you like this video, we sure would appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. And please check us out at traveltrailsale.com, where you can find information on not only gear reviews for RVs, but all of our travel adventures as well. Thanks, and we hope to see you soon.